welcome. We're back for another conversation with one of our jury members. I'm Bob Fox, principal at Fox Architects, and I publish Work Design magazine. And today I'm having a conversation with my good friend, Primo Orpilla, about the next work environment competition. Primo, welcome.
Thanks, Bob. So excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
The competition is seeking to find and recognize the best talent for innovative and high-performing work environments. And those environments need to be inspiring, healthy, and diverse places to be. Primo, you've been involved in some very forward-thinking projects and have won numerous awards. Maybe if you could share with us a little bit about your role and the kinds of things you're working on.
Yeah. So this is actually O+A's 30th year in business. So we've
That's
been
great.
focusing on the workplace since the Taft administration. No, since the 90s. It's been a long time. And I think, over the years, it has always been about the end user and the experience and kind of what can we do to kind of make that experience better. And things have gotten more sophisticated, things have gotten more involved with the pandemic, and with us working from home for a year, we've got to learn what's important to us and what we like and what we don't like about our work situation. So hopefully from this new kind of epiphany, we can have a new chapter that will be more balanced and I think fulfilling in a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways as agile, maybe even more agile than it was in the past.
Tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to workplace design.
Yeah, so I actually did my schooling in Northern California, in San Jose, before it was like the heart of the Silicon Valley. And it was funny because when we were signing up for internships, everybody wanted to intern in San Francisco, and that was banking and professional services. Nobody wanted to intern down in San Jose, and I didn't get any of the internships up in San Francisco. So I was in the Silicon Valley, and working with companies pre-Google, pre-Facebook days. There was an Apple, but it wasn't being run by Steve Jobs. It was by Scully. So it was kind of like a different valley. In a way, it was hardware focused. They were still making computers, and then this whole the whole social networking side came about in the late 2000s, and we were still a very hardware driven part of the that's what tech was. It wasn't pretty. So I learned there. I understood how to design space for people to work in. And all the things that we do now are kind of based on this early part of the Valley where it was more hierarchical, but there was still strength in engineering and coding. And these people became sort of the leaders of the companies and sort of changed workplace as we knew it. They became more collegial. They wanted their spaces that they had in academia or in college to be their workplace in the future. So I think that's where a lot of this is drawn from, working in that fashion. And then you're now the CEO of a company, kind of want to do what's familiar to you.
I think you're going to bring some really interesting insight into the competition. And so thanks. I'm really excited to have you participate. What are you hoping to see emerge from the competition?
Well, a number of things. I think, design of these spaces are going to be critical to how we come back into the workplace. We now have a number of things outside of health and well-being, sustainability, but also inclusion. And I think workplace can do a lot to help cultivate better behaviors and better treatment of people. So I'm hoping that when the competition goes, that we kind of learn that there are new ways to think about the workplace other than just a place to sit down and do work, but it's a place where you meet, you break bread with people, you share ideas. You share ideas not just about work, but about your culture and where you're from. And hopefully that makes for a better community and a better environment.
Well, we certainly spend a lot of time there and our lives are so intertwined with the workplace, but is there anything in particular that you'd like to see change?
We want to see more balance. We want to see inclusion. Even in these most sophisticated workplaces, we have many different age groups, cultures. You want to have the freedom to be who you want to be in the workplace, and you don't want there to be any sort of barriers to that. So this very, super barrier free, if you want to. So there's a lot of things that are built in the workplace that preclude people, and that we need to kind of sort of break those things down and make it more open, accessible to everybody.
How about for the individuals and teams who are working on submissions? Do you have any recommendations or suggestions about what they should consider?
I think they should, above all, be very kind of empathetic and try not to be ethnocentric. Try to be very universal in their approaches, because let's think about this workplace as being melting pot of ideas and cultures, as opposed to this. We've already kind of broken down hierarchy. We've tried to make things open and more accessible. I think there's just another level. I think there's another level of sharing. There's another level of commiserating and being a part of a community that is not just idea based, but it's kind of these meaningful relationships that we create over time. That is really happening in the workplace. We spend so much time in the workplace that we actually, at 5 o'clock, when you used to go home and maybe go hang out with your buddies, your buddies are now at the workplace. You're hanging out with them and you're spending more time with them. So it kind of focuses more the importance of how can we make these spaces even more supportive of those activities.
Primo, I'm super excited to have you on board for the jury. It's great to catch up with you. Thanks. I look forward to having some great conversations.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me, Bob.